I'm back in Denpasar and I had such a good time last time I was here that I thought I'd start off where I left off last time. I actually came to this coffee shop here. It's called Jenna Coffee or Jenna Cafe or hangout place or something like that. A place where you go in Nong Krong, and I really love it. So I wanted to get a bit of brekkie here this morning, maybe have a coffee, and then walk back into the centre of Denpasar and show you around a little bit. An area that some of you may know, a place that I've been to before but you might have forgotten or might have missed. It's a great part of town, and I think it's a thing that a lot of people might really like. So join me today in central Denpasar as we walk around and check out a few of the sites, have a couple of coffees, have a bit of brekkie. Let's get stuck in. This morning it's full with a lot of cyclists. Everyone's out on the weekend cycling around the place. But this is the sort of place it is. Not air conditioned and really quite a bit noisy. And last time I had a donut here, I thought it was really good and an iced coffee. I'm going to get a hot coffee this time. I don't know what other food they've got. I think they've got some like breads and stuff over there, but I'm not sure. I'll see if they've got any cooked food. I thought they had some cooked food here. I'll ask and see what they've got. Halo, ada menu atau kalau mau yang ini aja atau ada lagi? Ada di swipe juga. Oke, satu hot cappuccino. Oh, ada makanan berat. Nggak ada, belum semuanya belum ya, yang panas. Camilan aja. Oke, satu donat reguler. Kenapa? Donatnya habis. Jadi ada apa? Roti manis saja. Okay, so I'm having a piece of bread for breakfast. I might actually go and get a second breakfast further up the road. I know there's a few places up there where I can get a good bite to eat. What I like about this place, like I'm stuck inside a cage here. Like, it's a bit weird, but it's a classic Nong Krong spot in Indonesia. And because it's a little bit of an older concept, but newer implementation, the young people love it. They love that they can have that traditional concept of a hangout spot, which is still allows you to smoke, hang out here, even though not everyone smokes. But then they've got some more modern things that Indonesians like. These little bread things they've got are just pretty popular in Indonesia right now. I think it takes some inspiration from some other Asian countries, sometimes Japan, sometimes Korea, yeah, some of those things. So this bread I'm getting has got like cream cheese in it. So it sounds a bit weird, but they're usually pretty nice. One of the things about this smoking in these places, I don't smoke, so for me, I prefer no smoke. But there's something about these places that I actually really enjoy. I enjoy the fact that people are allowed to come here and smoke, even though I don't smoke myself. Like, I don't want people puffing in my face, but it generally doesn't work like that anyway. It's just nice to have something that's so classically normal. People can come here and sort of hang out and do what they want. I mean, you don't get that anywhere in the West anymore, really, but even in Indonesia now, I'm noticing a lot more places are not allowing you to smoke, which is really interesting. I know that that's a controversial opinion, especially with non-smokers who really don't like to have smoke blown in their face, and I'm sort of the same. But the thing about it is that there's a bit of character to a place like this that's open air, where people come and smoke and hang out. I mean, as I said, not everyone's smoking. It's not like you're in a big cloud of smoke. But I don't know, I just love the character of these places. And the character for me really amplifies the enjoyment that I have. It's not just about the actual flavour of the coffee or whatever. It's just the character of a place which can really, I don't know, just make it feel much better to go to. I really love it. I love this Jenna coffee, I really do. Like, I think it's just a place that if you're in Denpasar, you have to come here. But even if you're not here, maybe just making an effort to come here, I just think it's really good. So here's the bread. Yeah, it's like that. The cream cheese is in there somewhere. Yeah. And then that's the coffee, which is just a beautiful, beautiful looking coffee. That bread is very similar to what I've had in Bandung. So there was a trend about almost 10 years ago now in Bandung, where I used to live in West Java, of this sort of style of coffee shop with that sort of bread. Extremely popular. I know Bali's a little bit behind the times in terms of the way that local hangout places sort of evolve. It's different. And I find that some of the things that happen here happen multiple years after they've already happened in places like Bandung, which is really the centre of Indonesian Nong Krong culture, I've got to say. A brilliant place if you ever want to go and hang out with Indonesians. Bandung. Let's try the bread. I'll just get the plain bit first. Yeah, it's like a bread roll. As I said, a bread roll wasn't really my on my cards for this morning's breakfast, but anyway, give the coffee a go. Good coffee, really good coffee. That's the total of both of those was 56,100, which is pretty good, isn't it? Now I've just gotten into the cream cheese section that's got, I think, dried cranberries on it. And I just had a bite just then. It's actually really nice. Really good. I think that first bite I had was just the dry end. You know, sometimes when you get a donut and you have like the section that's got no filling in it, it can sometimes be a little bit, a bit underwhelming. Now that I've got into the filling, brilliant. Makasih ya. Love that place, love it. I don't know, it's just my style. I know it's not for everyone and that's okay, but when you find a place you really love and, you know, going back to the same place like that all the time is fine by me. As I was sitting there, I was trying to dissect really what it was that I really enjoy about that place, rather than just the technical aspects of, oh, it's open air, there's no air conditioning, it's full of locals just hanging out. Aside from those technical things or very factual things, there's a feeling as well. And when I sort of think about it a little bit more, I feel totally at ease there, totally relaxed, totally comfortable. I think that's what I like about it. And I don't know if that's because, you know, when I first started going to coffee shops, maybe they were a little bit more like that. Or maybe it reminds me of something back in the past of Bali that really feels good too. And I have a funny feeling that a lot of people watching today will probably feel the same way at a place like that. Just get in there, sit down, I don't know, play on your phone, have a look at what people are doing, have a chat to a few people and feel totally at ease and totally enjoy it. Love that. Not far from that cafe, there is this park here, which is a place where you're always going to find something of interest if you can get across the road, because it's busy at the moment. I don't know if this has its own separate name, but it's attached to the Monumen Perjuangan Puputan Badung, and that's the monument commemorating the ritual mass suicide, mass fight to the death, I guess is a better term, here in Badung in 1906. So this is the park over here. Sometimes they'll have a bit of karaoke going on, people playing instruments. There's also a lot of chess going on over there, usually. So sometimes you hear people call it like a Taman Catur, which means chess park. But that's what it's like people just hanging out there under the shade. It's just quite cool and quite beautiful just to sit under the shade there, especially because now this dry season's in full swing and it's just gotten a bit cooler. Sitting under these trees is just quite pleasant. Maybe buying from one of the sellers some noodles or an instant coffee or whatever. That's that monument that I showed you last time. I won't go over that again, but basically a beautiful monument which has recently been renovated. When you first visit a place like Denpasar, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And for me, it was like that as well the first time I came here. Mainly because you don't really know what you're doing. Like, where do I go? What do I go and have a look at? So having a bit of a plan in mind is sometimes a good idea. I mean, I like to wander around a little bit aimlessly, but because I'm sort of semi-familiar with a lot of stuff, it makes it easy for me to do that. But if you don't have any plan and you feel a little bit uncomfortable, that's a good sign that perhaps you should have planned a little bit more. Now, it's not for everyone. I mean, everyone's got their own way of traveling around the place, but the reason I mention it is because I think you can have a little bit of a better experience here if you have a couple of key points that you want to hit, and then in between those you have a bit of a wander around. Now that's, I'm going to try and get across here. All right, here we go. Now the thing about that is that I usually would have an anchor point, which is a couple of coffee shops. So you might have one that's 1 kilometre away from another one, and then you just make your way between them, and along the way have a bit of a look around, and then you don't feel so lost and aimless about your wander. But I mean, if you just like to wander aimlessly, which I don't mind doing, well, you can do that too, but just be aware that you might still feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. And I think that's one of the ways that you can get over the fact that sometimes you feel like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. That's one of the ways you get over that issue, is that you have some anchor points and then you walk between them. You can do it and you probably will enjoy it. And the first time you do something like that, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but the more you do those things, the more they become normal, and the more you start to see the little bits and pieces that make these things quite enjoyable, and you become more comfortable with the things that are going on around you. And these days, because we've got technology by our side the whole way, you can always pull out Google Maps and get to where you want to go, or order a taxi or whatever. That's a good place. That coffee shop, I can't remember what it was called, but that is a good one to go and try out every now and then. Just real local style, you know, real good one. This is sort of, what do I say, it's the main street in Denpasar? Like, it's the main old street, you know, where all the old buildings are. They even call it like a heritage street, I think, because it's got all these old buildings in it, these old businesses. Like, that's a glasses shop, an old school one, you know, and there's something quite nice about those older places. Lots of textiles around here too. There is a specific textile street, but it sort of spills out into these buildings all around. But do they have some character, these places? I just love them. Really do love them. And what I like about it is there hasn't been any real attempt to modernise them. I mean, they've obviously renovated them occasionally and that sort of thing, but they haven't really tried to rip them down and replace them with some big hulking mall or something like that, which is what I really like. The sort of shops around here are crazy, like just a vast array of things you can buy. This is a sewing machine shop. Look at this one. It's got the old ones out front, but I don't know if they're selling those too. Wow, old Singers. Just a whole shop full of sewing machine stuff. Well, it sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Because this is the area with all the fabrics and textiles. Interestingly, a lot of the fabrics and textiles are made in West Java. Historically, that's where they've been made. They are facing stiff competition from places like China and Bangladesh and so forth these days, but they have had a massive textile industry in West Java for such a long time, and the buyers of textiles will often go to West Java to source their supplier. Let's scoot across here. So that's the textile street down there. It's called Jalan Sulawesi. And up that road, I've explored that before, there's heaps of good cafes up there, or at least a few that I've been to. One of them in particular, amazing. So you have an explore up there as well. So this is really quite central here in Denpasar now. So you've got two big markets here, one next to the other. Yeah. So this big one over here is Pasar Badung. That's just like a normal market, traditional market, I guess you could say. And then next to it is, well, it's like a grand art market. It's built for the purposes of selling knickknacks and, well, I wouldn't call it a tourist market because it's not really a tourist market per se, but it is a bit like it. So all that stuff that you're familiar with at art markets around the island can be bought there as well. And you can buy it real cheap, especially if you buy in bulk. The thing is, you've got to be good at bargaining, and you know, if you're a foreigner, you're probably going to get charged more anyway, but that's okay. It's just a good place to look around for that sort of stuff. I won't go through it today because, I mean, it doesn't make for a good video walking around one of those places. This is the main heritage area down here. Yeah, it's really, really good. I'm going to nick across here and get down here. So I know this little alleyway because I did it about a year ago. And I love this alleyway. Guys just cooking some food down there as well. Halo Pak, permisi Pak, ya, ya. Bapak kerja sebagai apa? Dishub. Biasanya urus apa? Harus urus,
Lalu lintas badan jalan.
Oh, lalu lintas. Kalau ada yang parkir salah, oh begitu. Ya, makasih ya. Yeah. All right. So down here, I think it is. This is a really cool alleyway. I mean, you wouldn't think about coming down to it unless you knew where you were going, but thankfully I do. Hello. Oh, it's a nice little cat. Hello. Hey, hello. It's a bit scared. Let me go past. So the reason I want to come down here is there's just a bit of artwork down here. And I find that artwork to be really interesting. Yeah. It's actually the shop I'm going to for a coffee, which I've been to before, backs onto this alleyway. So those blue windows up there is actually where I'm going for my coffee in a sec. But I just enjoy this back alleyway. Hello. Oh, jalan-jalan saja.
Jalan, nilai kopi bersama.
Ya, aku mau ke sana nanti. Ya, ya. Dari mana?
Saya dari Labuan Bajo.
Labuan Bajo, tahu. Dari kota atau dari desa?
Kota.
Kota.
Pulau
Oh.
Rinca.
Oh, dari pulau.
Pulau Rinca tahu kan?
Tahu. Ada Komodo ya.
Komodo. Ya.
Oh, dari pulaunya. Ya.
Pulau Rinca.
Wow.
Bagus. Pernah ke sana?
Pernah. Aku sangat suka NTT.
Flores.
Ya, Flores. Ya. Oke.
Bagus. Oke.
Yeah, makasih ya. So look at that. It's pretty cool, eh? Little artwork there. I really like the style of the artwork. I mean, it's just really quite nice, isn't it? And the buildings themselves, just beautiful. Keren. Yeah. Get back down here. Oh, look at that. Unreal artwork. I mean, I don't know. It's a bit of entertainment, a bit of hiburan, if you like, in Indonesian. And I love that little bit of artwork there. There's actually some sort of thing on the wall here. It's called Mural Gang Beji. Yeah? It's all in Indonesian. So you probably have to scan the QR code and use Google Translate or something. Anyway, so I'm going in here. So this is a place, it's called Nadhi Heritage, and it's basically a stationery shop, but on the second floor they sell coffee. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Good. Look at this old school stationery shop. I love it. Love this stationery shop. It's just so good. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine.
Udah buka di atas?
Sudah, silakan.
Terima kasih. Ya. Hey, Mas. That guy hosing down the path down the back. All right, here we go. A bit more of this stuff over here. I'm gonna get myself a coffee over here. This is the place. How cool is it though? How cool is that? Hello. I'm just gonna get a little seat over here by the window, over that busy road below. Look at it. This place is a classic example of leaning into your heritage, appreciating it, but also giving people what they want in a bit of a more modern fashion. People want modern coffee, but it's still loving the old style here. I just really love it. It's everything about this place really just suits me to a T. Having a sort of a coffee looking over the road below. I mean, even though it's busy and everything like that, I mean, it's not like lying on a beach drinking a beer, but I don't know. It's just a part of Bali that I think is so authentic and so Bali and so Indonesia. It really, for me, strikes at the heart of what Indonesia really is. This is the real Indonesia. And even though in Bali we like to come here and relax by the beach, which is also Bali, this is a part of Bali which I think we sometimes skip a little bit. I've got a funny feeling that in years gone by, this is a more popular sort of area to come for a lot of tourists as well, and I'm not sure it is so much anymore. Hope we can change that. That is a good looking one for you. That is a good looking one. She's hot though. She is hot. I can hardly pick it up. I had someone in the comments the other day saying, I asked her a hot coffee and I'm complaining that it's hot. It's not too hot. It's quite good. It's right on the edge, but it's quite good. I have to use the handle, which I don't normally do. People have been commenting on that in the past as well. But I've got pretty big hands and pretty long fingers, so when I have to put my hand on, like through those little handles, like it just doesn't work. I need like a big mug to be able to pick them up properly. Like picking up like that, it feels like it's gonna fall out of my hands. I actually stopped in there for quite a long time, having a bit of a chat to one of the workers in there. He's from Flores and was telling me about his home village and how he's sort of trying to make a living here, and it's very hard back in his home village. Just going to scoot across the road here, see if I can get across without getting run over. Always difficult here in Bali. I'm going to head down this little alleyway down here that I've never been down. Well, it's not really an alleyway, it's a proper one. It's called Jalan Gunung Kawi. Looks like it's part of the market as well. Oh, a bit of nice art there. Look at that, beautiful. The weather today is a bit cooler because you've got a bit of cloud cover. It's not fully clouded, like you can see. A bit of blue sky up there. And because of that cloud cover, it's just taking the edge off the heat, and it's just such beautiful weather to walk around in. I've been thinking about a little bit about, I've been doing a few little language tips over the past few months, and one of the things that sometimes we get a little bit wrong with language here in Indonesia is how we address people, especially because that status thing is really important. It's not just about status, but it's also about being polite. What's polite, what's not polite. And oh, that's a beautiful building. Look at that one. Beautiful carvings all up there. See if I can get a little bit closer to that. Hello. It's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful carving. Yeah, nice. Yeah, sort of like being polite to people. There's this real thing in Indonesia. It's called sopan santun, and it covers a whole range of ways of how to act and interact with people. It's about politeness and cultural appropriateness and all of that sort of stuff. And you can say, oh, orang ini nggak ada sopan santunnya. You could say that, you know, and that'd be basically saying, oh, this person has just got almost like no manners, really. So to keep in line with what's expected here in Indonesia, you have to act a certain way. And that is when I address someone, especially someone older than me, and someone who I'm not really going to have a real larrikin type joke with, I'm always going to be, if I need to interrupt them, I need to say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma'am. Like, that's just really normal. And I know we would never do, like in Australia, I would never do that. But here you have to. And you don't have to, and you don't try and implement, or you don't try and enforce your own cultural values here. So you just say, you're going to say, oh, because I'm an Aussie, I don't do that. You have to do it, because that's just the way it's done. So the way you say it is, permisi bu, permisi pak, and you really sort of dip your head a little bit and give a real softness to it. You don't sort of charge in there and go 100% and say, excuse me, sir. You don't do it like that. You do it politely and a little bit soft-spoken. Especially if you want to give respect to someone, or you're interrupting someone, or it's a little bit, it could be seen as a bit rude. You really take your time doing it. Now, if it's some larrikin down at the beach, some surfer guy who wants to have a bit of a chat, well, you might just call him bro. Yeah, what's going on, bro? That's fine. That's fine. But there's sort of situations where you've got to pick your words a little bit, and it's always nicer and a little bit safer to be polite, always. And I always choose to do that until I get a read of what the situation is, and then I'll let my guard down a little bit. It's an interesting little road. I mean, because we're near the market, there's lots of little stuff to sell. Like there's a cage full of ducks over there. They're selling all the offering type stuff as well. And over here, someone's died over here actually. So they see all these little things over here. Yeah, someone's passed away, and then a lot of businesses or people with higher status have sent little well, what would you call that? Like little signs to be put out the front of the house to say, look, I really am offering my condolences to you. Oh, that is a Puri Tanjung Sari. That's like a palace. Might actually go down this little alleyway over here. Hello, bo. Let's have a look. See if it goes anywhere. It might be another one of those dead ends. Yeah. So that politeness. That's also when I learnt the language more formally. It's called bahasa baku. It's like a stiff language. Get out of the way, this dude. He's coming through. Hello, bro. And yeah, it's like a stiff form of language, and they teach it to you so you don't put your foot in it. So you're actually talking in a very stiff manner to all these people when you really shouldn't be. But it's better to do that than to go the opposite, which is to speak a bit rough to people who you should be giving respect to. Hello. And that's one of the things with Indonesian language, is that there are different contexts for speaking a certain way, and it's always best to speak that more formal, more deliberate, stiff language than it is to be very casual. The casual language is what you learn on the street. So if you don't really have any training, that's just saying don't throw your rubbish. Oh no, it's actually saying throw your rubbish in the correct location. Keep going down here. Yeah, so if you learn on the street, which I did for a while there, you just learn a bit of a rough way of speaking, and when those people who have only had that interact with an older person, they will often sound rude. They will. The people understand. It's not bad, but it's just something to keep in mind about that being polite thing, because I know in our own culture, I've got to get out of the way here. In our own culture, it doesn't matter as much, but here it does. So just trying to be culturally appropriate is really important. What do we got over here? I know where I am. This is Jalan Hasanuddin. This is another one of these nice streets to go and have a walk on. It's a bit busier, but yeah, you've got like old buildings like this, so the spare parts place, and this is a road which is very frequently travelled along if you're coming through the centre of town, because there's a lot of one-way streets in this town, and this is one of the streets that you almost always get funneled into. There's just sometimes no avoiding it. So I will often come down this way, but it's hard to recognise it when you're facing this direction, because it's obviously the opposite direction to what you're used to. But I know where I'm at now because I can see the river up here. Hello. And this river I'm pretty familiar with. This is where the big flood tore through, 6 months or more? It'd be more than 6 months ago now. Let's see what's happened with the buildings over here. Okay, nothing. So, I'll show you what the story was. As a bit of a reminder, so there was all buildings all along there. They were all joined up. You couldn't see through that gap there. And there were buildings there, and they collapsed into the river during one of the big floods. Now, I was standing over there in one of my videos. At the end, there's a little walkway up there, and I remember filming all the way up here, and I said in that video, these buildings are built quite dangerously by the way that they are. Well, these ones in particular were perched over the edge of the river with these 45-degree support structures, and it just looked as though they were crumbling. And yeah, unfortunately, what I sort of predicted might happen actually did. Not long after that, a flood came through and knocked all those buildings down, and sadly quite a few people died. I'm going to try and get across here because I've just spotted something that I wouldn't mind having a look at. Okay, so this has all been redone. After the flood, they've actually redone this area, which is scrubbed up very nicely. Wow. Look at that, it's nice and clean. They've got a nice walking path down there now. That is beautiful. I'm just gonna have a quick look down this road. I'm actually shocked at how quickly that's been redone, because last time I was down here was not long after the flood, and it just looked a real mess. Nice little stairway down here. I'm not seeing anyone else here though, which is a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, a couple of fishermen maybe. Here we go. So the height of the river was above that bridge when it came flooding through. So I'm assuming that this hotel had a bit of flood damage. I don't know, but I'm just assuming, because it was, or maybe not, it would have pretty come close to those windows. I'm not sure if it would have gone in though, but it was high, like almost unbelievably high. There's actually a really strong breeze down here at the moment, which is a pleasant change. It's actually quite cool, like genuinely quite cool. I mean, you don't need a jumper, but like I'm not feeling hot at all. So that's what it looks like now. It's quite beautiful. A lot of nice carvings there, and they've actually done a nice job down here. That's beautiful. And you know what? I'm not seeing much rubbish in there. There's a little bit, but it's not like a rubbish tip. That's nice. Yeah, that was one of the claims, is that there was too much rubbish in the river, and at some point it somehow got blocked. That's what one of the claims was. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't really know too much about how this flooding stuff happens. I mean, there is a bit of rubbish in there at the moment, which is not great, and I guess they're going to have to dig it out occasionally to get rid of it. But it looks quite nice around here. So all along here above where I am now, so the road at the moment is just over head height, so 2 meters above where I am now, and then the river is probably 2 or 3 meters, yeah, probably 2 meters below me. All those businesses and shops and houses along here were affected by the flood. Heavily affected. It wasn't just like it was just going in their front door. It was heavily affected because when you come up here, there is a bridge that was also submerged, and then when you see the height of this bridge, you get an idea of how bad it really was. Oh, look at this. There seems to be a building there that looks a little bit, well, that looks like it's going to collapse. Something already has collapsed at the back of that building. I wonder if this one's going to collapse. Yeah, that will collapse. It looks like it's about to go. How are they going to handle that? But they're still sort of using it. Well, that looks dangerous, doesn't it? They're still using that building. I really hope those people are safe. Yeah, it's sort of like leaning a bit. I mean, obviously they know it, they're not stupid, but I mean, sometimes you don't have the ability to change your circumstances, I guess. There's a bit of a problem, isn't it? That's a beautiful tree across there as well. Nice little banyan tree. I think it's called Beringin here. Beautiful. I love those trees. I can get back out there, that's nice to know. But yeah, so this bridge here was submerged. Then I spoke to a guy over the other side that's in one of these houses along here, and he got flooded out, unfortunately. Yeah, look at that. This other river here obviously was flooded at the time as well. So here we are. That's as far as it goes. Nice little spot. I don't think I'd be eating the fish that came out of that, to be honest. But I don't know, how does this rubbish and stuff get into the flesh of fish? I don't know. I guess it probably does, doesn't it? Get up here. They're big steps. I've got fairly big legs and it's a bit of a struggle for me. Matur suksema. And thank you to you for coming along for the ride today. Really have enjoyed my trip down here in Denpasar today. I unashamedly love Denpasar. It's one of those places which has a bad reputation, but I think it's completely undeserved. I love this place. I really do. I mean, I don't know what it is I like about it, but there's a bit of realness to it that I love. That's probably the main part of it. It's just real and raw, and I can always find something to keep me interested here in Denpasar. So I'd really like to thank you for coming along for the ride today. And thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sonora and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.